today's video, we're talking about how to make money organizing paddle games and leagues in a realistic, beginner-friendly way. What's up, you guys? My name is Ashley, and if you've noticed paddle growing quickly in your area and wondered how people are quietly turning that momentum into income, we're going to break it down. By the end of this video, you'll understand how organizing paddle games and leagues actually works, where the money comes from, and how to structure it very simply, and how to avoid turning something fun into something stressful. This isn't about running a massive sports organization or building a complicated brand. It's about creating structure around something people already want and being the person who makes it happen consistently. What organized paddle games and leagues really is. Making money organizing paddle games and leagues is less about the sport itself and more about coordination, reliability, and communication. You're not being paid because you're the best player on the court. You're being paid because you remove friction for everybody else. The problem you're solving is simple but real. People want to play paddle, but they don't want to manage group chats, chase down payments, coordinate skill levels, book courts, or deal with last-minute cancellations. When you step in and handle those moving parts, you create value. Organizing can start very small. It might be a weekly game with the same group at the same time. It can also grow into multi-week leagues with schedules, divisions, and standings. The scale really depends on how much responsibility you want to take on, not what's required to begin. This works great as a side hustle because paddle is social, reoccurring, and growing. Once players find a game or league they enjoy, they usually want to come back week after week. That repeat behavior is what makes this model sustainable. You're also not creating demand from nothing. Courts already exist, players already want court time, clubs often want more consistent bookings. You're stepping into an ecosystem that's pretty much already active and simply just adding some structure. Another reason this works well is that startup costs are low. You're not buying inventory or equipment. Your main investments are time, organization, and communication. And that makes it accessible for beginners who want to test something without taking on financial risk. Now, how the money actually comes in. Most organizers make money by charging a per player fee. That fee usually covers court costs and leaves a margin for organizing, scheduling, and managing the experience. Players are often happy to pay slightly more if it means they don't have to think about logistics. For leagues, income usually comes from a league entry fee paid upfront, and that fee covers multiple weeks of games, scheduling, coordination, and sometimes small extras like prizes or end of season events. As things grow, you can also layer in premium options. This might include guaranteed match times, higher level divisions, priority registration, or special events. The important thing to understand is that people are paying for convenience and consistency, not just access to a court. Starting with games before leagues. If you're brand new to this, starting with informal games is usually the easiest entry point. This might be a weekly game at a consistent time and general skill level. You handle booking the court, inviting players, collecting payments, and filling spots if someone drops out. In return, you keep a portion of the fee for organizing. This phase helps you learn quickly. You're going to learn how people actually show up, how far in advance people plan, how skill levels mix, and how much communication is actually needed to keep things running smoothly. Once you've done this consistently, transitioning into leagues is going to feel far less intimidating because you already understand the moving parts. Now let's talk about understanding your local paddle community. Every paddle community is different. Some are competitive, some are social, some players want structure while others want flexibility. Pay attention to what people ask for and what they complain about. Do beginners feel out of place? Do advanced players want something competitive? Do people struggle with unreliable scheduling? Your opportunity usually lives inside those gaps. When you organize around what people are missing, signups feel natural instead of forced. Now, how to structure a simple league. A league doesn't need to be complicated to work well. At its core, it's just a group of players, a schedule, and a clear time frame. Most beginner leagues run for a set number of weeks with games on the same day and time each week. That consistency makes it easier for people to commit and plan around. You can group players by skill level or rotate teams depending on your community. Early on, clarity matters more than perfect competition. Players care more about fairness and consistency than complex rules or scoring systems. Now, managing signups and payments clearly. Signups and payments are where things can quickly become chaotic if you don't set some expectations early on. Some organizers start with simple messages and payment links, while others create a basic registration page. Platforms like Wix can really help to create a clean page where players can see details, register, and pay in one place. Wix is very easy to navigate, very beginner friendly, and they have a bunch of templates that make creating a page super easy. This is just going to reduce the back and forth messages, minimize confusion, and make the experience feel more professional without adding unnecessary complexity. complexity. Staying organized behind the scenes is also very important. As soon as you're organizing more than one game or group, organization becomes critical. You need to know who's playing, who's paid, and what's scheduled. A really simple system using a tool like Notion can help you track players, payments, schedules, and notes. But having everything in one place reduces mental load and just prevents mistakes. Organization isn't about being fancy, it's really about being calm and clear. Communication is the real work. Most of the work in organizing paddle games is communication. Reminders, confirmations, updates, and last-minute changes all matter. People don't like uncertainty. Clear, timely messages make everything feel easier and more enjoyable. And as things grow, a very helpful tool to help you automate reminders or follow-ups so you're not manually messaging everyone all the time is OmniSend. OmniSend is great because you can go ahead and automate reminders, follow-ups, and everything in between. It's just a really easy way to communicate to everyone very easily. This is going to help you stay consistent without burning out. Now let's talk about branding, because you don't need a full brand to start, but a little consistency can really go a long way. Clear names for your games or leagues, simple visuals, and easy to read information can help people remember you. A really great tool is called Canva, and it can help you to create simple graphics for schedules, announcements, or social posts without needing to be a design expert. I'm not a creative person. I'm not super great at making things look aesthetic, but Canva makes everything so much easier. Now, working with courts and clubs is an important piece of this. So many paddle clubs are open to partnerships, especially if you bring consistent bookings. Building a good relationship with the venue is going to make everything easier. Just again, communicate clearly, respect their rules, and be reliable. When courts trust you, they're more likely to support your events and growth over time. Skills is the next topic. So skill levels matter more than people expect. Games are more enjoyable when players feel evenly matched. You don't need a perfect rating system, but you just need some guidelines. Separate beginners and intermediate sessions and ask players to self-select, honestly. When games feel fair, people are more willing and wanting to come back. Now moving on to growth, because growth should be intentional. You don't need to run games every night of the week to make this work. Start with what fits your schedule and add sessions only when demand is clear and your systems can handle it. Burnout usually comes from saying yes to too much too fast, but structure is going to protect your energy. Now some bonus tips for long-term success. So one helpful tip is to think of yourself as a facilitator rather than the center of attention. Your role is not to control every detail or be involved in every interaction. Your role is to create a structure that allows people to show up, play, and enjoy themselves. When things run smoothly, players don't notice the work behind the scenes, and that's actually a really good sign. Another important tip is to set clear boundaries around your availability early on. Decide how much time you want to spend organizing each week and communicate expectations clearly. This might mean setting specific hours when you respond to messages or creating cutoff times for signups. Boundaries are going to protect your energy and help prevent this side hustle from becoming a source of stress instead of income. It's also important to listen to feedback without reacting to every single suggestion or complaint. Not all feedback requires action. Individual opinions can be useful, but patterns are what really matter. If you notice the same concern coming up repeatedly, that's usually a signal worth paying attention to. Staying grounded in patterns helps you improve without constantly changing direction. And finally, remember that consistency builds trust over time. Running fewer games well is far better than running many games poorly. When players trust the experience, they're more likely to return, invite others, and stick around long term. Sustainable success comes from reliability. Now, is this side hustle for you? Organizing paddle games and leagues is a great fit if you enjoy bringing people together, you love staying organized, or even if you love working with the community. On the other hand, if you don't enjoy communication or coordination, this probably is going to feel a bit draining for you. But if you love structure and social environments, it can be both fun and profitable. The key is starting small and letting demand guide your growth. I know how intimidating it could feel to turn something social into something structured, especially when money is involved. But when you focus on clarity and communication, this is going to become so manageable for you. If you want to check out any of the tools that I mentioned, we do have exclusive links down below. Platforms like Shopify or Wix are going to help with registration and payments. Notion can help you stay very organized. Canva is amazing to help with visuals, and OmniSend is going to help with communication as things grow. I do want to mention that these are affiliate links, which means we may earn a small commission at no extra cost to you. So if you do choose to use our links, we just want to thank you so much in advance for supporting our channel. It really helps us to continue to create free content just like this. This channel is dedicated to helping you build simple income streams with clear, beginner-friendly steps. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, and of course, leave any comments or questions below. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.